Good morning. I want to do, excuse the weird angle. This is about the only way I'm going to be able to film right now because I want to be able to see the babies. So I have this awkward angle because I want to do this video on CASA. I've been talking about doing it forever, so I really want to do it. And if I look down, it's because I'm looking at my iPad. I am getting the information because I don't want to ramble too much. I'm getting the information from CASAforchildren.org, and go and read about, read about CASA on your own, learn, what you can. It's a great volunteer system, complete volunteers. And let me tell you what they are. Okay, it says, what is CASA for Children? Every day in this country, 1,900 children become victims of abuse or neglect. Now, this is every day. This isn't a year figure. This isn't a monthly figure. This is every day. In this country alone, 1,900 children become victims of abuse or neglect, and 4 of them will die. Every day. Every day. Court-appointed special advocates, CASA, C-A-S-A, Court-appointed special advocates for children, is a network of 951 community-based programs that recruit, train, and support citizen volunteers to advocate for the best interests of abused and neglected children in courtrooms and communities. Volunteer advocates, empowered directly by the courts, offer judges the critical information they need to ensure that each child's rights and needs are being attended to while in foster care. Volunteers stay with the children until they are placed in loving, permanent homes. For many abused children, a CASA volunteer is the only constant adult presence in their life. No, it tears me up. When our little girl came to us, there was no signs of physical abuse, but neglect can be just as bad. She's pulling on me. See, I told you I had to be right here. I turned off Blue's Clues, so now she's entertained by what I'm saying. So anyway, it tears me up thinking about that. Even though I've read this several times, I still get emotional. I'll just tell you a little bit about our experience with CASA. We have had the best experience. Now, we've only had 2 placements. One was, our little lady who was the 5-month-old, and she was only here for a few weeks. But in that few weeks, I spoke to her CASA several times, and I actually visited with her brother and sister's CASA. They weren't even in our home, but their CASA volunteer went and picked them up and brought them over from a different city. Our cities aren't that far apart, but from a different city in the DFW area, brought them over for visits so they could visit with their 5-month-old. Even though, they were 7 and 3, and the 3-year-old cried the whole time, and the 7-year-old would rather play with everything but the baby, but it was good for them to be around her. And I think the reason why the 7-year-old was like that, it was a little awkward for him. But anyway, okay, I stopped that so in case she was in the background, I can chop her out. I don't want her to be the star of my video. Now she sits in the corner and she thinks she's hiding. I can see you, especially in that corner. In the other corners, there's a possibility that you're hiding. But in that corner, when she does in the corner like that, my husband says, nobody puts your baby in the corner, from Dirty Dancing. Anyway, let's get back to CASA. Even though, like I said, even though that 3-year-old threw the fit the whole time in the car on the way over here, she said, getting back into the car the whole time she's here, she did not hesitate to go pick that child up and take her on these outings. Now, they came to visit here, and they would be here for about an hour. No. That's going to hurt you. And anyways, and then they would go on an outing. She'd take them shopping, to lunch, to a park, whatever. And no matter if that child was crying the whole time, she was going to give her that attention. And on a complete volunteer basis. She didn't get reimbursed for her travel or anything like that. These are volunteers, people. And they are very special people. Now, with Blondie, her CASA, she's had 2 since she's been here because the first one was actually the, like their boss or their leader, the leader of the CASAs. And they were recruiting more people. I'm trying to get closer, so hopefully she's not in the background back there. she came over and spent, an hour or a little bit more and got to know Blondie, and, was very sweet, brought her little toys to play with and sat in the floor and played with her the whole time, because that's what she's here for, to get to know her. And her being one, and at, 7 months to one, it just makes me laugh. And then little Luke is smiling at me over there from the swing. Anyway, even though she was probably my age, probably a little older than me. Yeah, she said she was a grandmother, so she sat on the floor and played with her. And since Blondie's one, she can't really tell her what's going on, so she has to get to know her. Don't push me. You're gonna make me fall down. Who am I talking to up here? I'm talking to the iPhone. Maybe I'm talking to Santa Claus or something. Because it's getting to be that time. Anyway, I saw that. No. That'll hurt you. I may have to finish this later because this may not be working. I'll get back with you. Okay, I changed views here. Now you get to see our mess back there. We have a baby in the swing. He was sliding out of everything today. And then we have a baby listening to some music in the other room, relaxing. Okay, so I told you about how the volunteers help the children. I think I was talking about Blondie's CASA. She actually has a new one now, and she came over and stayed about 2 hours just playing and talking to us. And they're here for the children, but they've helped me so much. The information I've got about Blondie's case has mostly come from our CASA volunteer. They know what's going on, and they actually go to court for the children. And I believe they work closely with the guardian ad litem, which is the foster child's lawyer. And I don't know that they work together, but I think they work closely because they seem to know the same information. Okay, so back to how other ways they help children. The CASA volunteers are appointed by judges to watch over and advocate for abused and neglected children, to make sure they don't get lost in the overburdened legal and social service system or languish in inappropriate group or foster homes. Volunteers stay with each child until the case is closed and the child is placed in a safe, permanent home. For many abused children, their CASA volunteer will be the one constant adult presence in their life. And that's just it. Even though Blondie had somebody who she's had two CASAs so far. The lady that was our first, she's still active. I mean, she's still very active in the case, and she sent her a birthday present, and it was an amazing birthday present. And she still asks about her and things like that, well, because she still has to know. When we went to our permanency hearing, CASA, even though they're volunteers, I'm sure they're professional people, but not professional in the way as a caseworker, a lawyer, the judge, things like that. She was listened to as much as anybody else in that room, and she was there to advocate for the child. She had her computer, had her notes, and she was there to make sure that the child's best interest was. Okay, I'm not a professional here, people. And I'm using my iPhone, and it has very little memory, and it's just a pain, but I'm fixing to get a new one as soon as I just make the time to do it. Anyway, back to the CASA. Let's see. Okay, let me do this. Okay, who are the CASA volunteers? Last year, nearly 75,000 CASA and Guardian Ad Litem GAL volunteers helped 238,000 abused and neglected children find safe, permanent homes. CASA volunteers are everyday citizens, just like me and you, people who have jobs, people who are retired, stay-at-home moms, dads too. I mean, there's men that are CASA too. They're everyday citizens who have undergone screening and training with their local CASA GAL program. So what I said about the CASA working with the GAL is that's the case. The GAL is the guardian ad. I always say this wrong. Guardian. Let me find it again so I can say it. Guardian ad litem. That's the attorney that helps the children, and I'll have a video about that as well. There comes my promises again. Whenever I get a chance to do it. I like to take the time to actually have quiet when I do this. So I can't do it like in a vlog setting. But anyway, the children that the CASAs help are children in foster care. Children who are in the CPS, Child Protective Services system. Yeah, I guess that's the way to say it. The kids who need them, the neglected, the abused, abandoned, kids who come into foster care for different reasons. This goes on to talk about how how CASA movement began, the funding, and how many CASA programs and stuff like that. But I'm not going to go into that. Like I said, this website is casaforchildren.org, and go read about it. Maybe you would want to be a volunteer. I've had people tell me, "Oh, I'd love to be a foster parent. I just don't think I could have the child in my home and then give them up." Don't be a foster parent. If you still want to help, go be a CASA. Personally, I think I would like to do. If I would, I don't know if you can be that and a foster parent at the same time. I think that'd be a conflict of interest. I mean, you couldn't be a CASA for your own foster kid, obviously. But anyway. We've had a great experience with CASA. Now, I will be honest and say I was a little scared, a little intimidated, because some things that I read on the online forums, I only read a couple of things about the CASA volunteers, and these people were complaining about the lady or their volunteer, and so that's the only information I had. But my experience has been so good. We've gotten so much information about from someone who cares. They're not just going to give us, they're not giving us gossip. They're giving us actual information. And it's stuff that, the social workers are very hardworking people, and we have a great caseworker with CPS for Blondie. But I mean, she's probably got several other kids in her workload, and we see her at least once a month, sometimes more. But I don't feel comfortable calling her and bugging her for just smaller questions. So CASA is just one more person that you can ask for information. I can't speak highly enough at this point about our CASA. Now, they're people just like us, so maybe we get one who's not as attentive next time. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm pretty positive that all the experiences will be great, because, like I said, they're volunteers. If they didn't like to do this, they wouldn't do it. But anyway, I just wanted to get this out there. If you have any questions about the CASA program, please look online and do your research. I only know from my own experience. I've never been trained to be a CASA. I'm just talking about our experience, and it has been great. Like I said in the first part of the video, with our first placement with her siblings, their CASA, went and picked them up, took them on outings, things like that. And I've heard of CASAs, not babysitting, but staying with the kids if they need somebody to. I've heard good things like that. We haven't needed that. I mean, Blondie's only one, so she hasn't been taken on an outing, because besides the park and maybe the zoo and stuff like that, there's not much hands-on outings that I don't already do with her, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, any questions, feel free to comment below. I know this is going to be a long one, and I know I did ramble, but I tried to give as much information as I can. The best thing to do is to go to that website and learn on your own, and call and talk to them. Go through the training, become a CASA.